And good day, everyone. My name is Ian Angelo S. Domingo together with Card Jesus Guzman and Christian Dave Disa. And I'm here to discuss the um, solar thermal energy. So first, there is a types of renewable energy sources, which is solar energy, wind energy, hydrogen energy, ocean energy, hydropower, geothermal power, bioenergy. So our focus is how do solar power plants work? So ang pag-uusapan natin dito is all about solar power plants and solar thermal system, ganyan. Solar power plants use the sun ray to produce electricity. In it has two main types. So una na nga rito yung photovoltaic power plant. So sa photovoltaic power plant, um, kung meron kayong scientific calculator dyan, diba, meron nakalagay sa scientific calculator na parang solar panel sa taas. And parang photovoltaic power plant siya, pero ang photovoltaic power plant parang upgraded siya, meaning meron siyang inverter, which is yung DC or yung DC current magiging AC current siya. Ayan. And this type use the energy from the sun and converts it into electricity using solar cell. So yun nga, photovoltaic power plant, kapag nasinagan siya ng araw, yung sinag ng araw na yun, mako-convert ito electricity sa pamamagitan ng solar cell. So sa solar thermal system naman, ang ginagawa nito, kapag nainitan ng araw yung parang panel niya or yung solar panel niya, yung heat na nanggagaling sa sun, merong fluid doon na kapag nasinagan ng araw, magiging or iinit siya. And after niya uminit, yung fluid na yun matatransfer into water. Ayan. Sabi nga rito, solar thermal power plants utilize energy from the sun to heat a fluid to high temperature. So yun nga. So sa solar thermal system, meron siyang fluid doon na kapag nasinagan ng araw o yung gamit yung init ng araw ay magiging high in temperature. This fluid then transfer its heat to water. So yun nga sabi natin kanina, which then becomes superheated steam. So magi-steam siya, and yung pressure na nanggagaling sa steam na yun causes the turbine to turn. Ayan. So ito yung mga largest photovoltaic power station sa buong mundo. Una na nga rito yung Badla Solar Park in India with capacity of 200 capacity MW 2,245 and land size of 5,700 HA in year 2020. So bago pa lang ito, noong nakarang taon lang. Next is yung Wanghe Hydropower Gold Moon Solar Park sa China. Ang capacity naman nito is 2,200 and ginawa lang din siya noong nakaraang taon or yung nakaraang taon, 2020. Ayan. Next is Pabadagada Solar Park in India na may capacity MW na or megawatts na 2,050. Land size niya is 5,300 hectares. Yan. And ginawa siya noong 2019. Next is yung Benban Solar Park sa Egypt. Capacity of 1,650 megawatts. Land size of 3,700 hectares and ginawa lang din siya noong 2019. Next is yung Tengger Desert Solar Park sa China. May capacity siya na 1,547 megawatts. Land size niya is 4,300 hectares. And ginawa siya noong 2016. So imagine niyo lang, sobrang laki niyan. Sobrang luwang. Ayan. The park has total, so yung Badla Solar Park in India, the park has total capacity of 2,245 megawatts consisting of more than 10 million solar panel. So imagine na lang 10 million solar panel, di ba? Isang panel pa nga lang napakalaki na, parang ayun. India Badla Solar Park is the largest solar park in the world. Yan, siya yung pinakamalaking solar park. Badla Solar Park is located in Badla, and of course, a dry and sandy region in Rajasthan, and spans of 5,700 hectares. Imagine din, napakaluwang yan. Di ba yung isang hektarya nga lang ng lupain, di ba napakaluwang na eh. Yung 5,700 hectares pa kaya. Ayan. With an estimate investing rising to 100 million or sa US dollars is 1.3 billion. Ayan. Next. So, sa Pilipinas, meron din tayong solar power plant. Ito na nga yung pinakamalaki sa Pilipinas is yung Calatagan Solar Farm with 63.3 megawatts. So imagine niyo, sa Pilipinas 63.3 lang, and sa Badla Solar Park in India 2,245. Wala pa siyang 1/4 ng megawatts sa Badla Solar Park in India. Ayan. It was reported that the groundbreaking for the solar facility was done as early as March 2015. So matagal na pala siya, 2015. Solar Philippines, a local company, developed a project which cost 5.7 billion. The facility was built by 2,500 people in 160 hectares. So, and i-compare nyo rin yung laki nung sa Badla Solar Park. 5,700 hectares. Tapos sa Pilipinas, 160 lang. Wala bang 1/4. Ayan. The foot of Mount San Piro upon its completion, solar farm has 2,000 panels. Unlike sa Badla Solar Park na 10 million, di ba? Dami. And majority of the funds of the project cost was shouldered by the Philippines Business Bank, Banco de Oro, China Bank of Commerce also provided funds. And by the end of February, the Calatagan Solar Farm is already generating power weeks before the deadline set by the Department of Energy of March 15, 2016. And note, Ilihan Combined Cycle Power Plant and Sual Power Station is the largest Philippines with generating capacity of 1,200 megawatts. Luzon Grind has a total capacity of 14,348 megawatts. 3 George Dam in China has capacity of 22,500 megawatts. So, compare nyo lang tatlong power plant na pinagsama-sama sa Pilipinas. Ay, sa Luzon pala, Luzon, 14,348 megawatts lang. Pero yung isang dam sa China, ang capacity nun is 22,500. So, syempre, wag na tayong magtaka kasi mahirap lang ang Pilipinas. Unlike sa ibang country na mayayaman. Ayan. So next, how do solar cell looks like? Ayan. So ito yung itsura ng solar cell. Ayan. So para mas ma-explain natin next. Ayan. How do solar cell work? To answer this question, let us first study the components of solar cell. So, pansin nyo dyan, yung unang layer is aluminum frame. Next is tempered glass. Next is encapsulant or EVA. So, doon pa lang sa pinaka parang gitna yung solar cell. Next is encapsulant EVA, block sheet, and junction box. So next. So ayan, ito pa yung ano, glass. Ayan, usually glass yung pinakauna. Ayan. Next is anti-reflection coating, metal grind, N-type, P-type silicone, and sa pinaka-ilalim is yung metal plate. So pansin nyo, bakit kaya metal plate yung pinaka-ilalim? But hindi pwedeng yung metal plate nasa taas? But kaya? Siyempre, kapag yung metal plate nilagay natin sa taas, matatakpan na niya yung ating solar panels mismo, yung pinaka solar cell natin. Ayan. Let's start on the first thing that is happen inside the solar cell. When sunlight strike it, for maximum efficiency to occur, the solar panel must absorb as many energy as it can from the sun. The more energy is absorbed, the more energy it can supply. So, the more energy na absorb ng solar panel natin, ganoon din yung energy na kaya niyang i-supply. And here's the things. Somewhere around 5% of the energy from the sun is already lost during reflections once it hit the glass, which is the top of the layer. So kaya nga, to avoid further losses, the sun energy upon entering the glass, there is where the anti-reflection coating comes into play. Ayan. Kaya siya nilagyan ng anti-reflection coating. Siyempre, kita mo natin sa pangalan niya, anti-reflection. So para hindi mag-bounce yung sinag ng araw, kailangan natin ng anti-reflection coating. So ito 'yon. Ayan. Scenario to avoided to prevent losses with the reflection. This happens when coating is incorrect. So ayan, kapag yung coating natin is incorrect, ito yung mangyayari dyan. Ito sa una. Itong unang waves. Magbabounce lang siya pabalik. And kapag nasinaga naman siya ulit ng araw, magbabounce siya kung hindi nakikita niyo ba yung mouse? Nakikita niyo ba yung mouse? Ayan. Kapag incorrect yung coating natin, magbabounce siya ulit pabalik. Ayan. Pero kung tama yung coating natin, magbabounce siya, tapos tatama siya dito, then babalik. Ayan. Next. Ayan. With the right amount of coating, the reflected energy can be minimized, if not totally canceled. So yan, ganito yung mangyayari kung tama yung amount of coating na gagawin natin. Ayan. So anti-reflection coating, let the light but mostly it doesn't let the light to be reflected out. It also makes some of the reflected light to get back. So yun nga sabi natin. Certain manipulation is being done during manufacturing to achieve that characteristic. So kaya merong mga solar panels na talagang mahal kasi yun yung mga quality ng kung sabihin nga natin. And meron naman dyan nabibiling mumurahin, pero ang kaibahan nun sa mga mamahalin na solar panel, yun nga, madali silang, so parang ito yung magiging scenario nila, magiging incorrect yung coating. Ayan. So next, maybe some of you will ask, what if just let the light strike the silicon junction without any more barriers on top? So, siyempre, makatanong natin, bakit hindi na lang yung silicon junction yung nakalagay? Ba't meron pang mga barriers sa taas? Ba't meron pang mga glass, ganyan. So, balik tayo dito. Ayan. Ba't pa merong mga glass? Ba't may anti-reflection coating? Bakit hindi na lang yung pinaka silicone conjunction para yung light tawag dito, yung light niya, yung light na gagaling sa sun is direct na talaga, di ba? So, this is the answer. The silicon being a semiconductor is a bit shiny. Exposing it directly to the sun may lose about 30% of sun energy due to reflection. So, yun yung sagot. Due to reflection, pwedeng mawala yung 30% of sun energy. And next, now here the question. What the main thing that is happening inside the solar cell or photovoltaic cell? That is why what is able to produce electricity when sunlight strike it. Ayan. Let us define what photovoltaic effect is. The photovoltaic effect is the generation of voltage and electric current in a material upon exposure to light. It is physical and chemical phenomenon. Ayan. So kapag sinabing photovoltaic effect, ito yung ito yung pinaka yung electric or yung electric current kapag na-expose na yung ating photovoltaic or solar cell sa light, doon siya nagkakaroon ng electricity or ng voltage na. Yan. And ayan, next. To achieve a photovoltaic effect, we need a material which, when struck by sunlight, will exhibit some characteristic of a conductor. Ayan. So, review question, what is the happening inside the copper conductor when there is no presence of voltage across it? So, next. So, ayan. The answer is, its valence electrons is free to move, transferring from one atom to another in random. So, yan. Pansin nyo, ito yung mga electron, ito yung nucleus, electron shell, ayan. That particular characteristic of the conductor where the ear number of electrons that moves freely is what should be attained to exhibit a photovoltaic effect. This is where the silicon semiconductors comes into play. When the silicon semiconductor absorbed energy from the sun, the photons which the sunlight have could knock the electron out of its orbit within the atom, making it free to move within the system in random. So, lattice structure of silicon atom forming a covalent bond with 4 neighboring atom. So, yan. So, ito yung itsura niya. So, nakikita naman natin dyan, meron silang covalent bond which, sa isa't isa. Ayan. Next. Another thing is needed to achieve by silicon semiconductor is for it to exhibit the characteristic of a battery where there is an imbalance of charge of both sides. Therefore, two sides should be created. The so-called PN junction, making the two sides of junction positively charged and negatively charged. Pure silicon is not enough to achieve this. This is achieved semiconductor for purpose and modifying its electrical conductivity. So, here is now other question. What substance should be used as dopant for silicon to become negatively charged, and what substance should be used as dopant for silicon to become positively charged? So, ano nga ba yung kailangan natin para sa negatively charged and positively charged? So, dito sa periodic table natin, makikita natin dito yung silicon, ito siya. And yung katabi niya is yung phosphorus. So, hahanapin natin dyan kung ano ba yung ano ba yung pwede nating gamitin para yung silicon natin maging negatively charged. And in other side, yung silicon natin din, paano siya magiging positively charged. Ayan. So, on the N-type side is phosphorus, is being used as doping material, while on the P side is boron. And next, another question now is why phosphorus is the one being used as dopant to create an N-type side and boron to create P-type side. So the silicon should be doped with atoms which contain more electrons to create negatively charged silicon, or with atoms which contains less electron to create positively charged silicon. So ito yung sagot sa tanong natin. Kasi yung silicon should dope with atoms which contain of more electrons to create negatively charged silicon. Yan. So ito siya. Lattice structures of silicon with phosphorus as dopant. So pag pinagsama natin yung phosphorus and silicon, meron siyang loosely bond electron dito. Ayan. Which is yung negative charge. Ayan. Next. Ayan, ito. So next naman is yung lattice structures of N and PN junction in solar panel. Ayan. N-type, extra electron or Be charge. P-type, missing electron, positively charged. Ayan. So, ito yung kanina, yung merong loose electron, and then sa P-type side naman is kulang siya dito ng isa, pansin nyo, sa may wala siyang covalent bond dito sa isang silicon sa phosphorus. Ayan. So yun yung kailangan natin para maging dope yung isa't isa sa kanila. So ito yung illustration ng PN junction. Since there is the rush of electron from the N side or the P side, the charge of the two sides will be reversed, making the boron dope P side becomes slightly negative and the phosphorus dope N side slightly positive. So yun. The PN junction, depletion region. So meron tayong dito tinatawag na depletion region, or yung parang ito yung pinaka naghahati. Ayan, sa positive and negatively charged. Ayan. Gaya na nakikita niyo sa screen. This rush of electron will quickly form a barrier between the two sides called depletion region. In here, equilibrium is being reached, then electrons stop flowing. An electric field is definitely created. The silicon junction is now exhibiting a characteristic of a battery. Ayan. Ayan guys, ganyan yung itsura niya. Kapag nasinagan na siya ng araw, ayan. Diyan na parang magkukulide or magwawala-wala yung mga atoms na meron tayo sa solar cells natin. Ayan, electron hole pair generation. Ayan. Kung saan, ayan, nagsasama-sama na yung mga electrons. Ayan. Sunlight enters the N-type side and penetrates the depletion region. This process knocks on electron out of the bond as many as it can, creating a pair of free electrons and holes in the depletion region. The electric field drives the pair out of the depletion region. The free electrons goes into N-type side and the holes in the P-type side, resulting in higher concentration of both. Ayan. Ayan yung mangyayari. When loads are being connected to both sides, electrons from the N-type side begins to flow, combining with holes toward the P-type side, and we all know that this unidirectional flow of electrons is direct current. Ayan. So andito yung heavily doped and lightly doped. Ayan. Ayan, electric. So, ayan, eto. Papaliwanag ko sa inyo yung photovoltaic power plant. Kung ano yung nangyayari sa photovoltaic power plant. Ayan. Kapag nasinagan ng araw yung solar panels natin, so kapag nasinagan na siya ng araw, so ano ba yung nakukuha niya ritong current? 'Di ba DC current? Yun nakukuha niya. Pero sa photovoltaic power plant or kapag kinonvert na natin siya sa electricity na dumadaloy sa mga bahay natin, ano ba yung ginagamit? Diba AC? So, from DC, kailangan natin siyang convert to AC. So, kaya sa photovoltaic power plant, merong inverter. Ayan. Sunlight, yung sunlight mapupunta sa solar panels natin. And after nun, matatransfer yung DC electricity to inverter. So, yung inverter, ang trabaho niya, gawing AC yung DC. And after nun, after ma-convert ng DC to AC, doon na matatransfer siya sa AC service panel. So, next doon is yung AC utility meter. So, bakit ba may AC service panel? Siyempre, sa sobrang dami ng susuplayan natin ng electricity. Siyempre, kailangan natin ng mga AC service panel, AC utility meter, LV or MV voltage setup para maibigay natin yung tama or yung saktong electricity na kailangan ng ating utility or yun nga sa may bahay-bahay na natin. So kailangan sakto lang, hindi sobra para hindi nagkakaroon ng mga problema. Ayan. Setup transformer are required to boost the 480 to 690 volts inverter output volume to the 13.8 kV to 46 kV of the medium voltage network. It is then connected to a substation for distribution into residential area when installed at the site. Solar modules are wired together in series of form strings. These strings of modules are connected in panel where necessary to form an array. In traditional BP plant, single centralized inverter provides the voltage inversion. So, yun lang. May tanong ba kayo mga pre? Question.
Wala naman pre.
Solar thermal system, also called CSP. Solar thermal system, also called CSP, operating principle. Solar thermal power plants utilize energy from the sun to heat a fluid to a high temperature. This fluid then transfers its heat to water, which then becomes superheated steam. This steam is used to turn turbines in a power plant, and this mechanical energy is converted into electrical by a generator. This system uses solar collectors, particularly mirrors, to concentrate the sun's rays on one point to achieve appropriately high temperatures. Types of system. Thermal system. May 4 nga na types. Una nga dito ay ang parabolic through, solar tower, linear Fresnel reflector, saka parabolic dish. Note, despite there are several different types, STS operates at the same principle, refers on the previous slide. They differ only in the manner of collecting sunlight and concentrating it to a certain point. Una ay pag-usapan natin ng parabolic through o general description. This through also known as line focus collectors, are lined up in rows on a solar field and are composed for a long parabolic shaped reflector that concentrates incident sunlight on a pipe that runs down at the middle of the true. The collectors sometimes utilize a single axis solar tracking system to track the sun across the sky as it moves from east to west to ensure that there is always maximum solar energy incident on the mirror. The receiver pipe in the center can reach temperatures upward of 400 degrees Celsius as the true focuses sun at 30 to 100 times its normal intensity. So itong example niya, itong mirror na to, makita natin diyan nagre-reflect yung sun. Tapos ito yung turbine. Sa turbine na yan, yung nasa loob may fluid. So yun. Yan, ito pa isang example. Tulad nga sinabi ko kanina, yung sunlight pupunta dun sa mirror, then pupunta siya sa turbine. Then yung turbine na yon, kapag iinit yung fluid doon na agos. Parabolic true operating principle. Heat from the sun is being collected by special mirrors, which is then reflected to a pipe that runs down the middle of the true. Within this central pipe is a heat transfer fluid, or HTF, following inside it. The HTF inside the pipe can reach a temperature around 400 degrees Celsius, as the true focuses sun at 30 to 100 times its normal intensity. This hot fluids goes to heat exchangers, where the heat is transferred to water, generating high-pressure, superheated steam. This steam then moves turbine to power a generator and produce electricity. The HTF then keeps circulating within the system. The steam is being condensed, which is to be sent back through the heat exchangers. Next, pag-usapan natin ay ang heat transfer fluids. In a solar thermal system, heat transfer fluid is a liquid or a gas specifically manufactured for a purpose of transmitting heat from one system to another. Heat transfer fluid. Sa tingin nyo pre, why use HTF instead of the direct system in which water is instantly turned into a steam by the heat reflected by mirrors in solar thermal system or CSP? Sa tingin nyo pre, bakit? Sabi na sir, these working fluids have high heat capacity. It can maintain a high level of hotness in a long period of time. That is why in CSP, large volume of HTF is heated to an elevated temperature during daytime, where sunlight intensity is at its peak. Then it is being stored in a tight vessel. It acts as a reserve power that can be used during cloudy days when the sun's intensity is at its lowest, or during nighttime where there is totally no presence of sunlight. Heat transfer fluid. The heat transfer fluid used in CSP technologies includes unang-una nga ay ang air, sunod ay ang water, sunod ay ang molten salts, sunod ay ang glycol base, sunod ang glycerol base of synthetic oils. The following characteristics are being considered on the what type of HTF is to be used in solar thermal power plant. Ito nga una nga ay ang operating temperature. Andiyan ang life cycle, heat transfer capability, yung heat storage aspect, overall safety, sa cost. Note, the use of molten salt in parabolic true system can heat the heat transfer fluid to 550 Celsius as a better performance than a synthetic oil, which can heat the HTF to only 400 degrees Celsius or less. Next ay ang solar tower. The setup includes an array of large number computer-controlled sun tracking mirrors known as heliostats. Sunlight can be concentrated as much as 1,500 times its normal intensity. These mirrors moves in dual axis and are located at the ground level, which collects energy from the sun, then reflect it toward a receiver which contain HTF located at the top of the water. The HTF is being heated at around 600 degrees Celsius. And just like in the parabolic trough, these HTF through pipes, it goes to a set of heat exchangers, then it transfers heat to the water, thereby generating high pressure superheated steam which is being used to turn a steam turbine. So ito nga yung example ng solar power tower. Yung sun, pupunta siya sa receivers, then yung receivers pupunta sa sa hot salt tank saka cold salt tanks. Then dito sila mag heat exchanger, then pupunta sa turbine. Tapos yun, magkakaroon na ng electricity. Ito yung example niya. Next is linear Fresnel reflector. The design of this type is the combination of parabolic trough and solar tower. This uses flat mirrors instead of parabolic mirrors used in parabolic trough. These flat mirrors move in one axis only, unlike in parabolic trough and solar tower, which moves in two. It adapts the working of solar tower, where the mirrors on the ground collects light from the sun and reflect it towards fixed receiver located above. Previous design generates steam directly without the use of HTF, which are now obsolete. Nowadays also use HTF to generate steam. The classic LFR has only one linear receiver on a single linear tower. To increase optical and ground views efficiency, the improved design called compact linear Fresnel reflectors use multiple receivers for each set of mirrors so that adjacent mirrors have different inclinations in order to target different receivers. Mga example ng linear Fresnel reflector. Kapag yung sun, nag-reflect siya sa mirror, and itong tube na to, kapag may tagas or may sira, meron siyang secondary reflector. Next is parabolic dish. So these dishes can concentrate sunlight much better than parabolic trough, and the fluid run through them can reach temperatures of 750 degrees Celsius. Because of the limitations of size and the small quantity of fluid, parabolic dish collectors are suitable for small-scale power generator. Next is Stirling engine. Stirling engines can be hard to understand, where here are the key points. Every Stirling engine has a sealed cylinder with one part hot and the other cold. The working gas inside the engine, which is often air, helium, or hydrogen, is moved by a mechanism from the hot side to the cold side. When the gas is on the hot side, it expands and pushes up on a piston. When it's moved back to the cold side, it contracts. Ito nga yung example ng parabolic dish. Next, largest solar thermal power station. Ito na ay ang Quartzite Solar Power Station. Capacity niya is 510. Yung country niya is sa Morocco. Type, parabolic trough and solar tower. Date and cost, 2018. Sa kanyang area niya is 2,500. Next is Avonpa Solar Power Facility. Yung capacity niya is 392. Yung country niya sa USA. And type, solar tower. And date and cost, 2014. And area niya is 1,420. Next ay ang Mojave Solar Project. Capacity niya is 280. Country niya is USA. Type niya is parabolic true. Date and cost 2014 and area niya is 714. Next is ang Solana Generating Station. Capacity niya is 280. Country niya sa USA din. Type niya is parabolic true. Date and cost is 2013 and area niya is 780. Next ay ang Genesis Solar Energy Project. Capacity niya is 280, country niya sa USA. In type niya is parabolic true. In date and cost niya is 2014. In area niya is 1920. And last, ang Solabens Solar Power Station. Capacity niya is 200. Country niya sa Spain. Type niya is parabolic true. Date niya is and cost is 2012. Ang area niya is 301. The largest solar thermal power station. Nangunguna dito ang Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park Phase 4. Yung capacity nga niya ay ang 600 and 100. Yung country niya is sa Dubai saka sa UAE. Yung type niya, parabolic true and solar tower. Date is 2022. So ngayon lang. Note is still under construction. So yun lang.